My name is Lisa, and I'm an internal support coordinator with WEX FSM, and I want to welcome you guys today to today's session of Solution Studio. Today, we're going over checklist best practices. And remember, there is a survey at the end to tell us how we're doing and if there's any other subjects you'd like to include in our webinars. And let's see, so checklists. You can use checklists in so many different ways. It's totally up to you as a company how far down the rabbit hole you want to go with these, because you can do just the basic ones for maybe um, checkups, for maintenance plan service windows, or you can go all the way down to where maybe the person in the office has a checklist that for any installs or larger jobs, they would create a checklist that will help them stay on track with the job to see where they are, especially if it's a larger job. They could have a check mark for pulling a permit, ordering the equipment. Once the equipment is installed, getting the equipment registered, getting paid, going back and doing job costing. So you can go as far down this rabbit hole as you want to. So let's get started on this and show you how to get them set up and then what you can use them for. So under more applications, checklist is where the templates live. It's kind of like the maintenance plan. You have to create a template for everybody to use. And this is our test account, and you can see there's a bunch of them in here. So there's also, let me go in here, it connects to jobs. So when you have all your different job types that you create in the system, you can go into checklists. And when you create a new checklist, you can associate it with a job type. And this is also one of those boxes that is a multi-select. So you can assign it to multiple jobs so that when you create that appointment for that job type, that this automatically loads on the customer's job so that it's there for your techs to use. If for some reason you change the job type and they need a different one, they can always reach out and grab one of the other ones at will on any job. So if it starts out as a service and you need an estimate, you can always go grab the estimate checklist as well. But when you create a new checklist, it has to have a name. Anything with a little red dot is a required field. So you have to have a name, something that makes sense for everybody. Oops, somebody else is coming in. Hi, Ruby. We just got started, so I was just going over the different type of jobs. So when you have a job and you create a checklist that is under more applications checklists, you can assign it to one or more jobs so that it will automatically load there. And so that's about all you missed. So you didn't miss very much. So anything with a red asterisk is a required field. So the checklist has to have a name, and you can associate it to one or more job types. And always check these little um, eyes here. So it'll tell you what anything is pulling so that there's no surprises. Because some of these, if you automatically add this checklist to a job, that's great. Okay. You can add it to add it to the job, and you can have a place for the customer to sign off, and you can make that required. So some checklists you want to be customer facing and some you probably don't. So let's say you had a maintenance plan service window that you were doing. You could do a maintenance plan checklist and go over all of the things that you checked for your customer. And when you do the invoice, you can add it to the invoice so that it shows value to your customer and they see exactly what you're checking. And one of the things that you can add to the checklist is the system condition. So you can put the system condition on there, and when they see this, they know, okay, it's a 10-year-old system. It's doing okay right now, but you may want to start thinking about replacement in the near future so that you can always get them prepared for that conversation. And especially if the system's not in good working order, you're letting them know ahead of time, hey, this thing is on its last leg. You guys need to start paying attention. We're going to be running some specials or things in the front, and you once you go into these, you can put a note on that customer or something like that that you can follow up later on. Give them a recommendation on that invoice where you go out and do the service. Even if it's no charge, you can put a recommendation on there and let them know what their options are moving forward so that they're ready for it. Okay. So you can make the customer signature required so that they know that what you've done and require it. And you can require it for appointment completion. So if you have a checklist on there on the job and the tech logs into the appointment and tries to complete the appointment, if they have not completed the checklist, they can't complete the appointment. Okay. So think about that when you're doing things, because if you have people who are very good that follow directions and will go through and do the checklist, this is going to be fine. If you have people, I called it going donkey, that don't want to do a process that you might have, then you're going to be chasing them down to get these done. They may not remember. They may go back in a few days and just go in and go check, 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 check. Everything was fine and sign off on it to get it done, which really doesn't help you because the reason for you creating that checklist was to get that information. So you really have to kind of educate your people on why you're getting these, why you need them, and kind of hold them accountable to get it done for this to work really well for you, because otherwise the jobs auto close. So if you have an appointment and if you have an invoice and you have a payment and the appointment is completed, the invoice is paid, it will auto close the job. Now you add checklists to the mix. So if the checklist is completed, then the job will auto close. If the checklist is not completed, or if there's a flag on the job won't auto close. And so someone, air quotations, usually the office person, is going to have to go back and review those jobs to make sure that they're complete and manually close them. So start thinking about this before you set these up, of what you're going to require, what you want your customer to see, and make sure that you set it up appropriately. So when you create this, I'm going to put a test in here because it won't let me go through there. And I'm going to go to maintenance. And I'm going to add this to the job. And this is the other option, to automatically attach it to the proposals and invoices on the job. So that's one of the things that you need to watch, whether you want the customer to see it or not. And I don't think I'm going to show the signature. I don't want it to add it in here, but I'm going to require it for completion. So this is where you start adding items. So when you come in to add the items, a lot of times you might have had a paper checklist that you had your guys go through. And I know when I first started and we first started doing maintenance plan, we had a two-part sheet that we would give to the customer when they sign up so they knew exactly what they were going to get, and it had a number on it. So you can just go back and if you have one of those and recreate it in here so that you don't have to have those paper sheets anymore and you don't have to pay the printer for those or find a place to file those once you get them back so that you have them. So this will help out a lot. So you have the option here to create a label. Okay. A label is a question or whatever you're checking. So if this was, say, less pressures, okay, you can give a short answer or you can do multiple choice. For pressures, you're probably going to want a short answer, which will give you a text field. Okay. But when you come in and you say filter condition, you may want to do a multiple choice. Bad, needs, or no filter. Let's try that one. Let's try, maybe they didn't have a filter in there. Needs changed, good condition. So they can go in with these multiple choices and just check the box for what they found when they were there. Okay, so a short answer gives them a field. Multiple choice is a checkbox. And at the end of every checklist, there's going to be a place to leave notes. So you don't have to add an extra field here to do notes. You can go ahead and put all of your list in here, and they'll automatically give you a field for notes, and it will automatically show the person on at the end who completed it. Okay, so let's say you start, oh goodness, I can't type up here, pressures. So let's say you created your list and all of a sudden you go, oh, wait a minute, I have something that is a check on the air handler that is in the area where I'm checking things in the condenser or I'm checking the drain line or something like that. It's out of the normal flow of what a technician would check and in what order. Okay, you can drag these hamburgers up and down and reorder them. Okay. So once you get through and you take a look at it and you say, okay, I'm all ready to the end, I'm going to go through the flow, make sure it works really well. And if anything is out of order, just drag it and drop it. Okay. So this is how to create checklists. So once you have it created, like we have a ton of them here, and there's some are associated with jobs and some are not. Okay. And if you decide you don't want one, you can always archive it. So we have archived ones in here. So if you click one, you can archive it. You can always go in and edit it. You don't have to create a new one if you have a change that you want to go over. And so you can have a checklist for your estimators to make sure that they are checking everything that you want them to check before you do a large job or a new install. Um, and like I said, you can go down the rabbit hole, the sales checklist, service checklist, a signature to work while the customer is not home. So if you have any of these things, or if you have any ideas, you can use this in a multitude of ways. Okay, so now that we have the checklist created, when you create an appointment, let's see if I've got over here. Okay, so this job type is a service. So when I created this job, checklists live in these little icons here. Okay, when I created this job, it automatically added the maintenance one because that's what job type I had it assigned to. Okay, so if the job type changes or you need another form on there, you would just hit new, and the guys can do this in the field as well. You just hit new, and it gives you that whole list of checklists so that you can choose one of these to pull in. Okay. And then they can complete whatever they need to complete. So just because it doesn't load when you create the appointment, you can always go get the other ones. Now, the other caveat for this is, okay, so this is a service appointment. I create my appointment for a job type service. It's going to auto load this one because I have it assigned to that job type. But I come in and I change the job type. It's not going to load the install checklist when you change the job type after it's been created. The checklist flow for the auto add only starts in that beginning where you first create the job. So if you change the job type, you're going to have to go back out and grab that other install checklist or estimate checklist, whatever you need. So just remember that once you set it up, the trigger to load it on here is that appointment creation with the new job type. Okay. So once you get it created, it's added here, or you reach out and grab it. They can walk through and they can go check pressure. They can add the data and they can put in the PSI there. They can go in and inspect the filter. There's my drop down. Clean, needs replacement, damaged. Okay. They can just choose whichever one. Data input field, measuring temperature, inspect duct work, and they also have the option to skip. So if you create one checklist and you're using it for everything, whether you're using it for heat pumps and furnaces or water heaters, if you're using it for everything, it gives you and them the option to skip things that might not apply, right? So they always have that option. Here's the field that they can put their notes in here. The customer can sign. This one has a customer signature on, and it's going to say completed by, and they can choose that and then save. So once they save this, it's going to create a checklist PDF, which looks pretty much like all of our other forms, like our proposal and like our invoices. This is a blind send, so you cannot look at it and you can go ahead and send it. You can delete it if you want to delete it. I never do a blind send because there may be a typo or something in there that you need to correct. So I always take a look at the PDF, and any of our job forms have the ability to print, download, and change the size to view it, and also to change the font size. So if you're giving this to someone who's an elderly person, you can change the font to be large so it will show up so that they can read it a little bit better. It will only change it on the send. It won't change it on what is stored in the system. But if you're printing it out or giving it to them or downloading it and giving it as an attachment to an email, you can go ahead and make that larger for them so that they can see it. So it has your company, your logo, the job number, everything in our system is anchored to a job number. So their address, who it's presented to, all of that information is here on there for you. Okay, and I wanted to show you on my screen what they see. So if you, I can't show you on the other, so let me pull this over here. So if you text or email this and you have it as an attachment, ooh, come back here, little guy. This one, this is the one that I want. It's going to show as an attachment. So the checklist PDF will be down here on the bottom. So if you send the invoice and the checklist is on here, it shows as a PDF. So when you're looking at the actual invoice and expecting it to be on the invoice open, it is an attachment. So don't think it's not there, and I'll show you where we can find this, but I just wanted to make sure that you guys could see that. Okay, and you can send the checklist here. It's just like our other forms. You can send it to anybody, email, text. You can add more attachments to it if you'd like. You can also change the font size here, and you can view it before you send it again. Okay. Once you send it, it's going to have that little circle there that that shows that it's sent, like our other job forms. And the other thing about a checklist, especially an install checklist, is let's say you did an install and you did an install checklist. You checked all the pressures. You checked to make sure that the water was flowing on a heat pump, that the condensation was going out. Everything was good to go when you left. Everything was in perfect line with where it should be. Okay. In about a week, your customer calls you back and says, I don't know what's up with this. It's not working right. And you go back and you dial it in again, and it becomes an ongoing situation. And you're starting to think this is a bad system. And the customer for sure is thinking this is a bad system. I want it replaced, right? So you have to have some documentation to show your dealer that for some reason this system is not working properly and it needs to be replaced. And you shouldn't have to eat it because they should be replacing it. And the first thing they're going to say is, well, it was probably the install. And at that point, you can come, you can print this out, you can email it to them and show them on your install that you installed it, did a good install, the pressures were in line with where they were supposed to be, everything was checked, and now you have a leg to stand on. Okay. If you don't do this, then you're in a back and forth with your distributor going, well, it's a bad unit. And they're going, well, it must be the install. And you go back and forth. This will help a lot as justification for going back. And if each time you go back out, you do another checkup for how many ever times you had to go out there and say, okay, this is what we did. We checked it every time, and this is continuing to have the same problem. You have a leg to stand on, and you have your documentation. So that's like I said, you can go as far down the rabbit hole as you want with these, but an install checklist is amazing to have. no matter what you're installing, um, through the different trades, so that you have a backup of what was done and made sure that everything was correct on your end. Okay. Okay. So if you want to see as a whole, because on a job, you're going to see that these are one's complete and one's incomplete. Okay. And you can also always click on it and see what is incomplete. This one has 0 of 6 that have been completed, and this one has 6 of 6 that has been completed. So when you go to reporting, you've got a job summary report and a job summary by appointment report. Okay. The job summary report will be in here, and you can't actually search for checklists on here as well. This was one of the original reports that was created. And in our system on these reports, anything that's red, you can click on it so you can toggle. So if you can toggle anything back up and down, I don't have any checklists for this amount of time. So let me go back in time a little bit. There's how the checklists show up. It shows up with an exclamation mark with a hover that'll let you know that 0 of 4 have been completed. And this is where you would go back in and say, okay, if you're using that toggle to be required for job closure, these are all going to have to be completed. Okay. And the status of the job is going to stay open. The invoice may be closed because it's been presented and paid, but the job is still open. So if you want to make sure that all of your jobs are tied up really nice with a bow and that they're all complete, someone is going to have to come in and take a look at these. And this report is very good as well. You have different filters that you can use and by job type. But the nice thing is you can see if there were any appointments scheduled, if they were complete, if you had any signed proposals, and if there are invoices. For our people, we always made them do an invoice and had the customer sign off on any work we did. So for every job, there should be an invoice, whether it's a no pay invoice or not, because that was our handshake with our customer. We did the invoice, we put an item on there that says no payment required, put the notes on there what we did, and had them sign off on it so that we knew that they had approved the work that we did. So if you came in here and you hit the pound sign and toggle it, you're going to see any job without an invoice and any job with an invoice. And in our system, depending on what you need to get done, you may have multiple. So that's why there's 3, 2 in here. But if this is 0, this is another way to catch if you haven't billed somebody. So if somebody went out, was in a hurry, scheduled, did their appointment, they completed their appointment, they went on with to the next call because they were lined up for the whole day, said, I'll do my invoice later. You can always come in here and check to make sure that you've been paid for anything that you need or invoiced your customer for anything that they should have been invoiced for. Okay. Signed proposals. You can come up and choose any signed proposals and look for any one that doesn't have an invoice. So this is an $8,900 job that hasn't been invoiced yet. So you may know that this work isn't complete yet. So you can't invoice them yet. Or you can say, I really need to get this invoice so that we can get paid for this because it's been here since April. Okay, so this report is very, very helpful for you to go through and also to follow up on your checklists. There's a little check mark that those are done. And the job summary by report. You can come in here as well, and it has completed checklists as well. I've had this open for a little while, so it wants me to reconnect, but I'm going to ignore that. Completed checklist will be in here as well. And this report was made in Tableau, so it functions a little bit differently than the original reports, and it has a slider on the side. So you can come in and see completed checklist. There's your scheduled appointments, complete appointments, signed proposals, invoice counts, invoice total. If you had a lead in our system, leads are how you get the job, referrals are how you get the customer, the appointment date, the appointment status, who was the appointment tech, and who is on the invoice for that tech. I mean, for that, what tech is on that invoice. So there's a place on the invoice that you can point it to a text. So you can see who's on the appointment and you can also see the invoice text. So this is a good report for you as well. To download Tableau, you click the box, go to Crosstab and choose Excel. We'll see if it will let me pull anything up because this is the test. It's probably not going to let me in the test one because especially it wants me to reconnect. So that would be how you would download it and get your Excel spreadsheet in case you need to manipulate the information anymore. Just make sure that you're going by job, by appointment, your date range is correct, and you're pulling all the information that you're looking for. Okay. Let's see, there's anything else, just a reminder that the job will not auto close. If the box is set up to be checked, that it needs to be completed for the job to be closed. And I think that's pretty much it. Does anyone have any questions on setting up checklists or how they work? You can always pop a note in the chat, or you can unmute yourself since we're a small group today.
I was wondering where that button was at.
There you
No,
go.
I'm good, thank you.
Oh, you're
These
welcome.
are like more like refresher courses for me right now, and I go back and
Oh, that's good.
continuously look at them.
That's good because I don't know, each time that you come and take a look at it, I think of the software as a living, breathing software because they're always making new
Mhm.
features. They're adding things to it. Like Profit Rhino, they've added some more things in there on that to be able to put in flat tiered markups and other things like that. And we have a separate webinar on that that includes the new information. So there's always something new, and you really never know until something red you click on it because anything red you can click on, and anything in that box without the caret on it is a drop down that's multi-select. So sometimes you just go in and go, wait a minute, let me click on that and see what it does. And it's like, okay, because I was doing a webinar not too long ago and somebody goes, what's this? And I said, I haven't clicked on that one in a while. And it was the score to see who's the closest tech to go take care of this service request. And I had forgotten all about it. So there is so much stuff in here that it's always great to come in and do a quick refresher, especially if you haven't been in here a while. And
Definitely.
also, if you haven't gone through your settings in a while. So if you set up your settings when you first came, go back and take another look because that's the notifications and things that are going to your customers. And you may want to take another look because some things may have changed since you first started.
Okay.
Mhm.
Take a look at it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else? Any other
I had a quick
questions?
question, Lisa.
Sure.
I just set it up to an appointment that we have for tomorrow.
Mhm.
I put a yes, no, like a multiple choice. And
Okay.
I saw that on the checklist, it shows like a number one on it. Once they complete the task, will that number one disappear?
Number one.
Yeah, so you know how it has, I don't know if you want to go try to take a look at it.
Okay, so if
So
I'm if
see how
I'm
it has the number two up there by the checklist?
no, that will keep that tells you the number of items in each of these icons. So it doesn't tell you if it's complete or not. It just tells you how many.
Okay.
So if I close this, I know that there are two checklists in there, whether they're
Okay.
complete or incomplete.
Okay.
Yeah, because that way you can keep track, especially with attachments. When you start putting attachments, I've seen people put like 43 attachments on a job. That will just give you an idea. And the reason they did it this way is because there's a lot of information on a job. And as a computer person, they want to make sure that this job and your customers' jobs on the customer page load as quickly as possible. So when you start putting 43 attachments on here, and if these are all open, it takes a long time to load. And you may not want to see all of these. At least this way you can click on them when you want to see them and the jobs load faster.
Okay.
And that was the reasoning behind that because when we used to have like all of these, it would say attachments and it would say checklists and equipment. So they changed the whole job to have these in icons so that it would decrease the job load time.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't think about it, but it's like sometimes people, when they have like property management companies and things like that, they will have hundreds of locations and of jobs on that actual customer. So to keep things going as quickly as possible, that's why like these are truncated so that the customer will load quickly. And then you can search for the correct job, or you can go through the activity and check on what you want to see, or take the quick look at the job here without opening it.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else I can do for you today?
No, I'm okay.
Okay, okay, let me see if there's what else we're on tomorrow. Tomorrow we're on maintenance plans. So that's a big
I
one.
might see you tomorrow.
Okay. So we're going to do maintenance plan setup and recurring revenues. So if you guys are not using the option to do monthly payments yet and you want to, so that you can sell them at $15 a month rather than an amount up front, that will be good to attend as well.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good.
Well, if you guys don't have any more questions, I'm going to let you go for the day and get back to work, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow.
All righty, you have a good day as well.
You too.
Thank you, Lisa.
You're
Have a good
welcome.
one.
Take care.